welcome to the Delta Thistle Curling Club here in the British Columbia Under-18 Provincial Championship. It is semifinal on the women's side as the Broom taps to get things going between our two competing teams. It is Team Wheatcroft against Team Richards. I'm Luke Coley. I'm joined with Will Sutton here for this evening's semifinal. Happy New Year, everyone, and glad to be a part of the great British Columbia Curl BC Under-18 Championship. And Will, these two teams, different ways of getting here, but identical 3 and 2 round robin records.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Richards, by virtue of their cumulative last stone draw for the week, got the bye to the semifinals, whereas Team Wheatcroft had to go that tiebreaker route where they defeated Team Wong and now find themselves in this game after playing the 9 o'clock draw this morning.
So by virtue of that, they work things out. We see the first stone here for Team Wheatcroft, as it'll be Team Richards with the hammer, a lead in this revolving lineup for Team Wheatcroft. We'll get through that. Savannah Miley to start off this game. Of course, the winner will go on to the championship final tomorrow afternoon against Emily Bowles. This should be fun between these two teams. As we see centerline guard to start things off, not wasting any time, both sides. Carly Hardy, the lead for Team Richards.
A relatively new player to Team Richards. Team Richards is one of our more experienced U18 teams, having been to that Canada Winter Games, and Carly was added to the lineup last season, I believe, and has been a part of the team since then.
Well, and in just looking at these two teams coming into the game, it was been of two teams 3 and 2 records, but Wheatcroft and this team definitely a little bit younger, a little less experienced as far as playing in these major championships, where you have Richards. Will, you said it, a BC Winter Games, a Canada Winter Games. They've been to previous U18 championships, so they've been around this and obviously trying to get their name as a U18 champion. We see first mistake there, the miss hit by Savannah Miley on that wide stone.
So it looks like Team Richards is going to draw into the rings and try to sit 2. And you said it right, the Team Wheatcroft a little less experienced, but they have been to that BC Winter Games and got on the podium there, and they're a 5-person team. They rotate their lineup. Brooke Alexic is also on the team regularly, and she rotates through the lineup. So they're really trying to play all the positions, get the experience, and learning how to be a lead, a second, a third, and a skip, and should be a great matchup tonight.
Well, early advantage for Team Richards. That one comes into the rings to lie 2. You mentioned it, rotating it through. We'll see Ashley Desura at the second position, the lefty, so a little bit different there, coming out of the other hack. This team learn every position, but that's part of the growth of the game, and knowing all of them. Then you can move if you need to, based on age, start your own team, go fill on another team. Obviously you want to stick together, but you can grow and you have options, and if you played multiple positions. As we see, a nice control weight, gets rid of one of the 2 stones.
I really like the turn selection here. I've been hearing in the club at the Delta Thistle, it's a little straighter out on the wings, and I like the center line out turn selection here from experienced Richard skip.
Well, Grace McCusker, the second for Team Richards, will make the hit. Little roll in.
If you are wondering out there, she is the niece of Joan McCusker, the commentator we hear at, on Sportsnet these days.
Yeah, she might have won a couple of things back when. 1998 Olympic gold medalist. Knowing Joan, she's probably watching. So hi, Joan. Ashley makes the hit. Rolls to the top of the forefoot in a real nice spot, forcing Gracelyn Richards to go up and get rid of the centerline guard.
With Hammer here in the first end, this call makes a lot of sense. Wanted to make sure give yourself a simple shot in the first end for your last one if you're Team Richards.
Will, the decision was, do you hit the back one, do you guard it? How do you go about it for early on? We're only halfway through this first end. How aggressive do you play it?
You know, I guess there's another option in the guard, and I like the option of playing a draw in the rings or a lightweight hit. You never really want to take out your own by mistake, so playing a softer weight draw here makes a lot of sense. The guard might be a little bit of an aggressive call, I think, for this early stage in the end, but all depends on your end plan, and in this early stage, I would imagine playing in the rings here is a nice way to go.
Well, guards it up. It's in the rings. But chance, I think you could make the double, but got to hit it properly so you don't catch your back red at the same time.
Yeah, anywhere on the high side here, it looks like the left side of the screen here is she'll be trying to hit it on. All about keeping your shooter in the rings, really, in this shot. Not so much about the double, but hitting on the right side and saving your shooter.
Well, trying to get that curl, have to try and make sure they get rid of at least one. They're hoping to maybe get it to carve it over and catch the two. That doesn't work, so it's still that shot stone top of the forefoot.
I really think it's important you play to your team's strengths, and in this situation, playing a softer weight shot, I think makes a lot of sense. Nice call here. Another option might be to play some sort of a hit, but just playing down to the back one here. Key is not to set up an easy double.
Well, and this is the one thing you don't want to do. It goes into the back of your mind, and right there leaves this and actually can hold the shooter right in front.
I guess that's the good news, Luke, is if Keeley makes the double here, there should be a double right back, unless she rolls away. So Keeley's been a part of this Richards team since the beginning, so been a part of that Canada Games experience as well, and started in second position and has developed over the years into a really key member of this team.
Well, double not made, but keeps the shooter around. And interesting here, decision not going to go chase after either of those.
A
of course, this is the same lineup. Pardon me, Will, is the same lineup they played this morning in their tiebreaker to get to this game. The same lineup they had in that one as they have, like you said earlier, that they'll rotate throughout events, get familiar as they try to not only have success, but develop their games at every position. just have to be careful coming down to it. They don't set anything up. And we'll tap
Nice
it back.
shot.
The lie 1-2 does the job. I don't see anything there, Will, that can.
I think you're right. The key here, I think, is eliminating one of those blues and saving your shooter. Looks like she's hitting the one in front of the tee line, and it'll make it a little more difficult to remove the shooter. Nice shot there from Team Wheatcroft. I've been lucky enough to watch Team Wheatcroft in the odd Bonspiel on the tour or in the summer spiels and those sorts of things that they would be playing in, and they do like the draw game, so they'll continue to kind of play to that side of the game, and nice draw made there.
You can see that definitely what they favor already in this first end. Gracelyn Richards into Skip Stones this first end. Try and keep the shooter, roll in front, and we'll get shot Stone. So very nice right back from Gracelyn.
That hit and roll is a little scary, but it looks like they're gonna give it a go here.
Yeah, risky looking at it because you catch the back one, bring up more, and timeout called early in this game. And we mentioned Grace McCusker with Team Richards, recognizable last name in McCusker. We got a few on the other side in Team Wheatcroft.
Absolutely, and the team coach here, Georgina Wheatcroft, is coming out onto the ice right now, and you'll recognize that name for the Olympics she went to and the bronze medal she earned for Canada with Kelly Law, amongst many other Scotties national championships. Also on this team is coaching on this team is Diane Desura and Shannon Jonice. So lots of coaching experience, and they're going to lean on it a little bit here in the first end, Luke.
Yeah, don't always see that timeout called right away, but you see the risk with how they played it. They played the draw, keeping those stones around. They're looking at hitting that red stone on the left of the 4-foot and avoid the jam. They hit it, they jam off that one, there's a shot for 3. You end up jamming it, you could leave a shot for 4.
Exactly. And especially early on in this end, they defaulted so much to that draw game. It would have been, it's one of those things, a coach mentor of mine, Bill Shearhart, always says, just stick with your plan in the end, unless there's a really good reason to change. And I think that's what they're talking about here, maybe playing a little more of a softer weight shot that doesn't have so much risk to it.
Because at the moment, it is that Richard Stone, top of the 4-foot, that's shot. It's a counter, but there is 3rd and 4th. Both belong to Richards as well. One minor mistake could leave an opening for a big end here in this first. In their round robin game, it was Richards won it actually 9-2. So the change, is it now hit that side one and try and roll in and close the scoring zone, get into lie, even second and third, maybe leave a shot for 2 only, limit the damage, Will?
Looks that way, yeah, and so a nose hit here, it will leave a difficult shot, I think, for Team Richards, but like you say, if you make the rollover, it's just a shot for 2, and doesn't leave that risk of taking out your own. So you'll see on the sleeve there, the 4K girls. This team, because their lineup rotates, that's their regular name. So you see Team Wheatcroft, but on the Bonspiel circuit, they like to go by the 4K girls.
Well, they don't roll in. That's what they needed to do. They had to try and roll in. So now play that short raise, and maybe that's what, when they called the timeout and Coach Wheatcroft came out and said, you know what, we hit this one, even if we don't make the roll, they got to raise one of their own back. And it's risky because you go over the top, you leave a steal. You may not score that big end that's possibly set up.
Yeah, it could be a 4-point swing here, depending on how this one goes.
So the final stone here, this first end, trying to go red back onto the blue. Opportunity to score an early 3. Gotta carve this one to try and get over to the nose. Go straight back and over the top, and there it is. The steal comes in. Doesn't carve it over, and a chance at 3 goes awry, and it ends up being a steal of 1 for Team Wheatcroft, starting off this semifinal on the women's side. Spot in tomorrow's championship game on the line. And the second end will begin, same as the first, with Team Wheatcroft leading this one 1-0. I'm Luke Coley, alongside Will Sutton, here for the British Columbia U18 Provincial Championship. This is the women's semifinal. We had the men's earlier today. The final will be tomorrow, final Sunday coming up. But what better way to spend a Saturday night on New Year's Day than watching some curling and these young, great athletes out on the ice. And what a swing in that first end. Could have been a 3-0 game, instead a miss, and Wheatcroft gets the steal.
Yeah, you don't often see a timeout in the first end, but it was used, and I think used smartly to kind of play the more defensive shot there, essentially, and force Team Richards to play a shot for 3 that did have a little risk to it, and we saw it. We saw she missed it on the wrong, missed it the wrong way, unfortunately, and there's a steal. But if ever ends like that, I think we're in for a treat tonight, Luke.
Yeah, the more stones in play, the more discussion, interesting action out on the ice as we see same start, guard out in front, the draw to the wing. And well, that's a strategy that Richards is playing. Let's not go around the center line. Let's stay out to the wing.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got that last stone advantage, and they want to keep that 4 foot open for their last one. And that first end went really well for them. They did everything right, and then unfortunately they just missed their last one the wrong way. So I think for them, they want to stick with the plan here, even though they gave up a steal in the first end unexpectedly.
Well, and another miss. We've seen that a couple times in this game now. First couple ends for Savannah Miley. Just not able to make that hit on the side, and could be how much do they look into scouting reports between the teams or tendencies if they played each other a fair number of times of how to play. Do you play that to the wing that way?
You know, I think so to a point. In general, this ice has been really release sensitive and really straight out on the wings. So forcing your opposition to hit out on the wings is a good idea. And so especially if it isn't a clean release for some reason, or the line of delivery is not quite on, it can really expose some weaknesses. So I think it's a good tactic to go to the wings with last rock on this ice and force your opposition to throw some takeouts out there.
Also, it's deja vu all over again. Second end trying to play the hit on the wing. Ashley DeZera make the hit. Doesn't have to roll in front all the way, just a little roll. Oh, the hit and the big roll.
Wonderful roll.
Very nice. Spins at the end, but a great effort to get behind that guard.
I've heard this team Wheatcroft meet a few times before their game, and they do a lot of the right things and talk about team goals and individual goals. And I've overheard them say energy is one of them, and I noticed that in the team. They've got lots of energy, and they like to have fun, and it looks like they're having that tonight, so that's nice to see.
Now, trying to not just remove that, but trying to roll it onto the paint and open up that stone back of the forefoot.
Ashley's grandfather, Ed, is a longtime coach and competitive curler in BC, and her dad, Grant, is a longtime competitive curler in BC. So lots of curlers in her family at home to talk strategy over dinner with.
Yeah, it seems with these two teams, there's a lot of family discussions that'll be had about the sport of curling and decision making and every aspect that goes into it.
Exactly. Adam Duncan, the coach of the Richards team, is the parent of the third Keeley.
Oh, a nice hit and roll right in front. Some great shot making early on in this one. Rolls right in behind, but behind the tee line, there is still a chance to freeze.
This Richards team, they actually played a little bit on the BC Women's Curling Tour this year. So did the Wheatcroft team, actually. Richards was up in Kelowna, and Wheatcroft in the Golden Ears Winter Club. So both these teams, they do play at that higher level, and I think that really makes a big difference when you come back to this U18 or even the U21 level. They play playing against the top women's teams in BC has really taught them to make a few more shots, maybe. Than they're used to having to make at this level. Wonderful freeze.
All right back. Oh, you make the nice roll. I'm going to freeze right on top, and an absolute perfect. Locked on. Play down to it, but then you're really closing in your scoring zone again. They talked about the peel, a few different options for this shot now. They stayed off it a long time, and then they tried to get on, almost like it made a jump and goes right through. And here Wheatcroft with an opportunity we saw in the first end, played a lot of draws. Chance to put one right in on top again.
Nice thing about playing a lot of draws is you find draw weight early, and on this ice that's around 15 to 15 and a half seconds, it's really important to have draw weight. I think we saw in that morning's game, or afternoon game, sorry, today, that draw weight was a little bit elusive at times, and it's an important thing to get a handle on. So by throwing a lot of draws early, this Wheatcroft team should be giving themselves a nice advantage later in the game. Wow, great shot.
Yeah, well done, top of the forefoot, and just a great job by the curlers, but also it always is important for the ice to be a great surface for the players, and you're seeing that you saw earlier today and already in this game.
Absolutely. Hats off to the City of Delta ice crew who been working over the holidays to bring the players these conditions, and they're doing a scrape between every draw and really doing what they can to provide championship ice conditions. And if you have a clean release and you throw it well, the rock will curl for you. So it's really nice to see.
Well, they pick that one out, and again, it opens up. So same situation now for Team Wheatcroft as they can draw in for Hannah Smead, skipping for Team Wheatcroft in this game.
If they make this one the same way they made the last, Luke, I'm not sure if Richards might need to look at some sort of a run back, possibly.
Yeah, those stones in the back of the forefoot are causing the grief for Team Richards. So, well, this nut doesn't even have to be directly frozen on the back. It can be a little bit short of it.
Absolutely, yeah. You could even throw this as a tight guard, I think, and you'd be okay with that. But ideal spot, I think, is back where they had thrown the previous one.
Well, really working to try and get it there, and it is a tight guard, which probably the better way to miss that.
Absolutely, yeah, real good spot. So choice now to run your own back or the opposition's, or throw a draw. I don't like the draw very much. There's this is a good one if you make it, the running back of your own, Luke. But if you ever just pick your own out, all of a sudden it could be a steal of two, I think, if you're not careful.
Trying to run this one straight back into the rings, right to that blue one. First of skip stones for Gracelyn Richards. So on it most of the way. Is it going to over curl? Will, and will leave it right in front, move the guards around. So another great opportunity to really try and get in there, not just set up a possible steal one, but a steal two against this Richards team.
Exactly, and it's a little bit of a different path, but it's a similar shot to what they've gotten to throw a few times this end. So that's always a good thing when you get to throw a shot you've thrown a few times and you're comfortable with it. So expect this one to be really close.
Well, it's a little different in the round robin game. It was a score of 1 by Richards in the first, then steals of 4 and steals of 3, which put that game out of hand early. It's Wheatcroft trying to play thief early in this game, stealing 1 in the first, trying to add to it as Hannah Smead try and put this one top button. But sounding like this one heavier than they expected. They want to take this one right by, not leave any backing for an easier shot for Richards.
Yeah, a little unfortunate. Her first one on that guard missed, or the draw missed on the light side. We call that in the tolerance, and that one just a little bit out of the tolerance by missing it deep like that. But it's easy to do on this ice. It's so fast in Delta. It's about 15.5 to draw the T line, so you really have to buy into using your sweepers, and I'm sure the players know that, but it's just one of those things you really got to remind yourself of sometimes, or your teammates need to remind you of too.
So a draw, there is some backing with the right line, but would like to make this right on her own. Gracelyn Richards to tie this game up. Trying to get this one over to get to that blue stone and sit right to it. Sits in time. Good for a single point. So a steal in the first by Wheatcroft. Richards gets one back with the hammer in the second. And we are all tied up at 1 through 2 ends and the British Columbia U18 Provincial Championship. So we begin end number 3, and the winner moves on to the championship game tomorrow afternoon against Emily Bowles. The women's side, different than the men's. In the men's, we had a 5-0 team, 4-1, and a 3-2. On the women's side, there's one more team, so they played a 5-game round robin, and 4 teams finished with a 3-2 record. Now you missed it off the top. Will, it all came down to math and that to determine how each team got to this point.
Absolutely, and as in most championships now, that cumulative last stone draw is so important. So every team gets a chance to throw 2 draws at the end of their pregame practice, and the closest one of the team gets the hammer in that game. But also at the end of the preliminary round, it can decide who gets to the final versus who gets to a tiebreaker game, and that's exactly what happened in this championship, and it's why Team Wheatcroft had such a long route, was their cumulative last stone draw just wasn't as good as the other 3 teams.
So the third end and the first time that the Wheatcroft team will have the hammer. See how their strategy is, what their game plan is. We saw what Team Richards like to do with the hammer. Now it's their opponent's turn. They're playing the hit on that wide stone. And it will sit right there, top of the 12-foot.
Sounded like they said the weight was a little down out of her hand, and it's curling big to the wings.
Well, I think you mentioned that, Will, especially towards where there was the boards and the pillars in the facility in the Delta Thistle Club, that they curl a little bit more towards that side.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we saw Wheatcroft set things up in the first couple ends to get a steal and a force. Now it's Grace McCusker for Team Richards to try and do the same for her team now.
Mm-hmm. And in all these ends, we've seen some flashes in those front end rocks from the Wheatcroft team. So I'm sure Team Richards is going to school a little bit on that, and continuing to see a bit of a tendency there in these first few ends with a missed open hit.
On that goes back button. So Richards lying too early. And well, we've seen this a few times already in the game by the Wheatcroft team. We mentioned a couple times the lineup changing throughout. But there's a lot of team discussions because of that. Does that change the dynamic of a skip? May not feel as comfortable to make those decisions, or the team making the decisions for the most part?
Yeah, I think it really does seem to be kind of a rule by democracy and conversation out there, and which is a good thing, but it does sometimes maybe cause a little bit of uncertainty. We normally see a little more discussion later in an end, and when you're having to talk a lot on the lead or second rocks, that's not always a great thing, because those shots should be fairly pre-planned based on the end plan. But yeah, it's as these teams are learning, it's one of those things they'll have to decide if they find a player that is that kind of set position, or if they want to keep rotating as they continue down the path.
Well, a couple miscues by the Wheatcroft rink, and now Richards trying to put the pressure on a bit more and maybe force Wheatcroft to play some hits to move some stones around.
I really think the key for this Richards team is not leaving an out with a freeze or a hit and roll, and because this we know this Wheatcroft team does play those soft shots so well, as they've shown in these first few ends, that it's important not to leave an out.
Well, as you said, it will. They were doing that. They left the out. There's a hit and roll. You can freeze into the pocket. Obviously tough to play a freeze facing 4 early in a game, but
absolutely, I like the call here.
Hit, roll right on the corner. Very nice.
Nice shot.
And they've done that. It's early in the game, but when they've needed to make that shot to get out, sort of change the way the end's gone, Wheatcroft's been able to do that so far, whereas Team Richards hasn't capped off those ends. They've had some control in certain points. They haven't capped it off.
Yeah, you said it. It takes 8 shots, or at least 6 or 7 of 8 shots to get made to cap off an end, and or one good one on your last, I guess.
So Keely Duncan will look to play the hit. There is a little bit of room to make this. They're trying to hold the line with the sweep. Try and make it, avoid touching their own, and we'll sit right on the button to lie 4 in this third end.
Another chance here to make that hit and roll, and maybe use that red stone on the top of the 12-foot to your advantage.
Just in between of making the double and sitting there, instead rolls out. So neither side with the hammer has really been able to come out with or have anything set up very much in these last couple ends.
I think Graceland's afraid to draw the top 8 or something, because she's just going to leave the hit and roll. So it looks like she's calling it to the top 12-foot maybe?
Just part of the top part of the rings, I think it makes a lot of sense at this point.
Nice shot. Takes that freeze away.
Just real nice weight control too, knowing that it's just top part of the rings. They never really panic. They managed that one well throughout. And live 4. So it seemed like their big worry was those top stones. Those are the ones that are hurting them.
Yeah, lots of discussion, but it sounded like the Desura member said those are the problem rocks, and I agree. That rock's in the top 12 foot and close to the center line, so that's your problem. So I think now Team Richards will have to deal with taking that sort of outturn freeze away or even draw around the one in the top 12. So same call here, and so I like the call there from Team Wheatcroft.
So a similar spot where they had it, or even tuck a little bit behind of that red one top of the 12 foot?
Exactly, Luke. Yeah, I think it's key here again is not ending up behind the tee line and using those sweepers. So it's a different thrower here, but same shot for the team. So that's always nice.
Well, important that she got the information from Keeley, her third, what the weight is, what it felt like. This spot's now seen a few stones. Want to protect the back one, but don't want to leave a hole.
Unfortunately, it looks like they did that. They left a hole there, and chance here to maybe still put a little pressure on Team Richards this end if Team Wheatcroft chooses to, but it's still a tough situation. And if you don't deal with that rock on the center line in the top of the 12 foot, Team Richards may be able to use it on their next one, and then you'd have a really hard time scoring. So this is there, but it's got some risk to it if you don't execute here, I think, Luke.
Well, got to get through
Looks
that
like
hole.
It's just yeah,
just a quiet wait.
Board wait.
Don't think they liked where this one got to. They weren't sure what was going to do, try and get that curl over, and it's just a little bit wide, I think, on release, based on the reaction in the house from Amy Wheatcroft.
Yeah, and going to be facing a few on 4 or 5 on her last draw. So Team Wheatcroft should be preparing to talk about draw weight or what the options might be. And Team Richards here looks like they're talking about rock placement.
Well, it's where is going to make the most difficult shot to get there. If you go a similar spot where you just were, top of the 8 foot, changes that draw path to get to the 4 foot, or they have to hit that side one and then roll.
Yeah, are you kind of right on the tee in the delta would be a pretty good spot, I think, and if you can, yeah, sort of there, yeah, force a draw is what it looks like they're trying to do here. Is what on the call.
So they're going to the other turn with the intern here, try and get across that center line, and then force the draw, maybe even draw to the backing for Team Wheatcroft and Hannah Smead on the pressure shot against 5. Well, little change now as they make that decision with a bit more weight. Take it back so the freeze doesn't get shot. It's gonna be close. You may be able to come down to that one.
Talking about a hit, it looked like there. I think I liked what you kind of referred to there, Luke. A draw down to the back one. That's a pretty low risk shot, but hit's also an option. Looks like a nose hit and a little roll maybe would score your 1 point here, but obviously the risk is if you roll out, it's a bundle.
Yeah, and you see this sometimes, especially younger curlers. They see those that many stones in there. I have to play the hit. I can't afford to play a draw, risking what could be. Well, you can hit, you can roll out. You can also draw, and then have the 4 foot wide open. It's all on what your comfort is, and it seemed they would play the draw early in the game, but now playing the hit for Hannah Smead and her final stone of 3. And on it right away. Real big sweep to try and make this one. And they will hit, roll away, and it's going to be a steal of 2. They do cut it down, but 2 will go up on the board for Team Richards via the steal. They have their first lead of the game. It's now 3-1 after 3. So end number 4 begins here at the Delta Thistle Curling Club, the British Columbia U18 Provincial Championship. Winner of this game goes to tomorrow's championship final. Emily Bowles is awaiting the winner of this one.
I like the call here from Team Richards. It looks like they're called it in the rings with the 2 point lead now,
and playing this hit now, maybe just, you know what, let's settle things down. That last end didn't go well for us for Team Wheatcroft. Let's play the hit. Let's play one on the center line, a hit for Savannah Miley, who has come up with a few miscues in this one, hasn't executed with a few hits to the wing, so let's get some confidence.
Exactly, and you can always throw that corner guard a little later with the 5 rock rule, and so yeah, I like the call there, and nice to see Hannah make the nose hit there.
Well, Carly Hardy on Team Richards now having that 3-1 lead. And I don't know if this one's biting or not. Very close. Well, you said it will. You can play the guard later, and here it'll come.
Yeah, good call here. They talked about playing it in, and but good decision there to play the guard here, trailing by 2.
Well, they want to get these guards in good position, and especially going to that side where you'll get a little bit more curl. I like the smart decision of where you put that corner guard.
So I believe they're throwing the in-turn draw around the center guard here, Luke.
Yeah, I do believe, and they were talking which turn to go around it.
I guess the other turn you'd have had that blue one in the way, it would have been the problem, but like the call.
Well, gets around, but deep in the rings. And actually goes out.
Lots of nice curl in that spot, though.
Yeah. Giving the credit to the skip for sweeping that one through. Talked about the energy for this Wheatcroft team. Trying to build that up a little bit after the steal.
Absolutely. It can go a long way in these moments.
You got that miss from your opponent. Now they're going to try and take advantage. Build on that.
Really nice to see them using this corner guard right away, and
well, it won't get by. Chips off it, leaves another guard out in front, but down by 2 points, you have some guards to use. Just have to try and come through with those the execution of your shots.
Exactly. The call was correct, and that's really all you can ask for. Everyone's trying to make their shots out there, but nice to see everybody going through the processes, doing their best.
A little split ad-lib call, great call in the house to change of plans. Wasn't going to make the come around over curls and splits them both in.
I like the turn selection here from Team Wheatcroft, and Ashley's been close on these hit and rolls all game.
Well, it can make the short roll or the big roll, so a few different options. And it will roll big, but is it too big and rolling out of the rings? And it will, so rolls out. You said it earlier, Will, the tolerance, and that one I think the tolerance would have been a nose hit or a short roll as opposed to rolling out.
Right, yeah. Looks like this one might be on the guard.
Real good sweep to try and hold as far as they did and get it actually into the rings. I thought they were going to be catching a lot bigger chunk of that guard.
I like this call here, Luke. With the last rock advantage, want to try to use those rock play to the wings a little more and make a run back here, and might be able to do that. Opens things up if nothing else.
Now trying to run it back, and we'll go off the side one, sort of plan B, plan C to spin it off that side one and get in for shot stone.
And all of a sudden now, a lot of risk to Team Richards now, running back one of their own rocks. This reminds me of the shot Graceland was thrown in the first end for 3.
The only difference now, it's Keely Duncan throwing it. Again, trying to carve it, trying to get it as close to the nose as they need to make the run. And again, over the top, misses it. So they've had 2 hit almost identically.
Really tough situations. Both times probably looked like the appropriate call to me. But yeah, just both ended up the wrong way, and no one does that on purpose. But chance here to sit 2 and be in a pretty good position.
Got that one in behind on Wheatcross first. Now they're trying to wrap this one behind, and just doesn't curl over far enough. It's in the open, but they lie 2. So Will, where do they want to try and roll this one to by playing the hit?
It looked like she was trying to roll directly behind the blue rock, directly behind the Wheatcroft rock there, and try to make her to make a short little run back to sit that 2 and hopefully set up a double, is what I think Graceland's thinking.
They want to try and get the roll, and on it, holding line the whole way, Grace McCusker, and get it right on the nose.
So yeah, hitting. Main thing here is to hit and stick around. Not sure how far you want to roll it. Might make the double a little easier if you roll it too far. But yeah, main objective here is to keep your shooter in the rings after you hit this rock.
I'll make that set up possibly for the 2 that would tie this game up at the midway point.
like the weight there. Nice shot.
They changed a little bit. They didn't want to roll him behind. They figured that left it in a tougher double spot. What that'll help is you have Amy Wheatcroft, who's skipped games in the house calling line. That definitely is an advantage for them that way with the rotating lineup. Gracelyn Richards now skip her final stone here this fourth end. I think just trying to hit and roll, maybe just tuck in behind that blue one.
Exactly. Throwing a little more weight than we just saw the team Wheatcroft throw, and I think that's typical here for this team.
Saw an indication for weight being a little more. No, make the hit, just tuck a little underneath.
Nice shot.
Nice shot. Forces a more difficult final shot to get the two. It's definitely available, but it becomes a little trickier.
Yeah, it looks like hack weight there maybe calling here with based on the ice there.
As a real important, throw the weight, the proper weight. You up your weight, will run straight. You're a little quiet, where you get it going, could take off. Just nice hack weight hit. Try and pick up two and tie this game up. Well, they jumped it early. Did they jump it too early? We'll make the hit and we'll roll all the way out. So a missed opportunity. Maybe a little cautious to make sure that they don't over curl and pick their own out and give up the steal and only get one. So we're at the halfway point of this semifinal, and it's a 1-point game. Team Richards leading Team Wheatcroft. Well, Luke Coley here with Will Sutton, and we're in the fourth end break of this women's semifinal. The winner moves on to the final tomorrow. And Will, you start early in this game. A big swing of what could have been a score of 3 for Team Richards ends up being a steal for Wheatcroft to start off the match.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really been a game of what shots you make, and unfortunately for Team Richards, they've missed a couple of key ones that have let the opposition off the hook a little bit. But having said that, it's been a really well-played game so far, and both teams are getting a handle on draw weight, and it's been a fun first half to watch.
So like you said, we've sort of gone back and forth, the pendulum swinging. Which way is it going? As the missed shot for 2 in the fourth end by Hannah Smead and Team Wheatcroft, they could have tied it up. Instead, they're down 1 heading into the second half of this game.
You know, I think Team Wheatcroft is pretty happy to be within 1 going into the second half of this game, and they're probably having a meeting right now about the next half, and the plan will likely be to put some more rocks in play and to continue to play a lot of draws. And for Team Richards, I really think the plan's going to be to continue to do what they've been doing and to not have so many rocks in play, and hopefully later on in this game make those shots when it comes down to it to sit 3 and to see how it goes. But I think both teams are pretty happy here going into the second half.
And we talked about it earlier in the men's semifinal earlier today. Winner of this does get to go to the under-18 nationals. So there's a lot, both teams knowing that that's out there. They thinking about that. Where does that one sit in the back of the minds for maybe a team in their first U18 like Team Wheatcroft versus Team Richards that's been here and has been to some national and provincial events before?
Exactly, you said it. I think it's all about perspective and experience, and in this case, Team Richards is really going to have to lean on their experience in what they've played in before, to not think about the fact that what's on the line here. And then, and I think the benefit that the Team 4K girls, Team Wheatcroft, has going for them is they don't have that that pressure on them, and you know, and the fact they're in this game is really a great accomplishment. And having said that, they're within a point, and there's no reason they couldn't win it in the second half. So I think their coach is probably saying that to them and really making sure everyone just stays focused on the process here in the second half, and it'll be exciting to see which team comes out on top.
And obviously, everyone knows in the world the COVID-19 pandemic has been tough, but it's great that the players are able to be back out on the ice. We're seeing them performing and being able to compete at this highest level. It's just a testament to all the staff, making sure everyone's doing it safely, doing it properly, and all the staff that still, through the pandemic, have been working hard to make sure that these athletes are able to get out on the ice and get to the event and do it safely.
Absolutely. The organizing committee, the event managers, the officials, everybody that is in the facility, along with the athletes and their parents, hats off to you for following the protocols, and then also all the people that can't be there who are back home. I know this is it's tough not to be at the event cheering them on, and I hope you're enjoying the live stream here tonight.
Yeah, and I do apologize that you have to listen to us and you're not able to be there at the rink and watching it that way, but we're proud to be here and bring it to you. These teams know what it's like to compete and develop, and we're seeing 2 young teams that are really utilizing that high performance system, Melissa Saligo and Curl BC, that have got set up. So great to them seeing what it's going, and just a couple of the teams in the whole program that's trying to grow Curl BC and the game of curling.
Exactly, you said it, and one of the most important things that I think the high performance program, along with Curl BC's organization, does is put these events on live streams such as this, and make these U18 championships, U21 championships feel like major events, so that when when our athletes get to that national stage, it's not a surprise for them to be on TSN and Sportsnet or those sorts of things. So hats off to the people that have organized this, and it's really great to see the athletes performing here.
Well, and the first stone there ends up being short. It's a hog stone. It's a great privilege to be a part of it. My first time with the U18 for British Columbia, so it's awesome, and all the work at Roll Focus Productions and Mike and his team have just been great to give you the pictures and make sure that you can hear us and that we can sound intelligent. So a draw to the wings. I think you mentioned it, Will, that it's let's stick to what we do best, and I think a simpler game. Not that Richards can't play with a lot of stones, but I think they can utilize maybe what's not the strong point of Team Wheatcroft to their advantage.
Exactly. We call those open draws and open hits the 80% shots, because you're supposed to make them 80% of the time or more. And Team Richards' kind of plan here is to force their opposition to make as many of those as possible. And if they get half shots like this, it's a nice chance to get to throw open draws and get draw weight. And if you get the odd flash, well, it's a chance to maybe get a low risk two-ender. But at a certain level, it stops working. But it does work at this U18 age group for sure.
So by rolling out, you can do it that way. I'm sure even if it's a blank in this one, 4 ends remaining, just 8 ends at the U18 championship, that you put this one in, even if you play hits, you don't get that miss, you blank the end, you have the hammer, and 2 hammers to your opponent's 1 with a 1-point lead.
So yeah, interesting here if they're continuing to hit here. It's early enough in this end, you might give some consideration to throwing a center guard and trying to kind of force a few more rocks in play. But like you said, it's okay to get a blank here and move on to the next. But another option here would be to throw that center guard and try to put a few more rocks in play and not let Team Richards off the hook quite this early in the end.
So just 1 stone back of the 12-foot here. 3-2 is the score. Just tuning in. Thanks for catching up with the British Columbia U18 Provincial Championship. It's the women's semifinal. 3-2. Team Richards leading Team Wheatcroft. I'm Luke Coley, joined with Will Sutton. Just trading those shots back and forth. Both these teams not afraid to, you mentioned it, they travel. They've played some of on the women's tour, heading into out of province even when it's safe to do so, and going to events, going to academies and learning, especially this Wheatcroft team really putting in the time and work to get to this level.
Absolutely. Team Richards, we've seen them at Curl BC Rock Slide summer curling camp for years, and along with Team Wheatcroft, and then Team Wheatcroft. Yeah, last summer I understand they traveled to some camps in Alberta at the Kevin Martin Academy of Curling, and it's really important for teams to take those steps and expose themselves to different resources, and that's what these teams are doing by being in high performance programs and playing in those BC Curling Tour events as well as the BC Junior Curling Tour events. Is they're really exposing themselves to all sorts of different competitors and different coaches and people to provide them with information for that next stage of development.
Both teams have been solid playing these hits to this side of the sheet.
The Richards team, they do a lot of training at the Parksville Curling Club on Vancouver Island, and I saw on their Facebook page they had an experience with Team Arsenal this past year. So it's great to see these players getting all kinds of different experiences, not only playing against these top competitors on the tours, but also in their training environments, getting a chance to work with not only their coaches, but some of these top competitors. It really makes a big difference in their abilities to perform.
Yeah, I think you said it right there, Will. You get the opportunity to see those in any facet of it, whether you look up to it. I'm sure they watch a lot of the game. Obviously, big curling people. You're around it. You've seen them. And obviously, the connection with Grace McCusker and Joan McCusker, that connection. You look at the Wheatcroft team and what some of their parents have done and around the curling rink. There's no surprise that they've used some of those lessons to be at this level.
Did you get a time? Okay.
Nice to see lots of hitting sticks here, and not rolling out. Teams making these shots that they should be.
Yeah, it's a good way to come out of that fourth end break. You take that rest, you regroup, get a little snack in you, talk with your coach, and you come out. And the first stone was a hogged one, but then you draw to the wing, and it's been hit, and has been solid. There's been well thrown stones and good execution. Something for a couple of players that had a couple of hit and rolls out or minor hit misses, that you're able to get that confidence, get that feel, build that energy to really go for these last three ends and see what we can get.
Yeah, that confidence and belief in self is so important. So playing these simple shots, I think, can go a long way for both teams, and especially for both teams here at this stage in the game.
That's the second game of the day for Team Wheatcroft. They played this morning. They won a tiebreaker 5-3, beating Brielle Wong. Obviously, the afternoon was the men's semifinal. Now it's the women's semifinal. And Hannah looking to keep things going here in this end. Hit and stick. First to skip stones. Not what you want to hear. Hard for a piece. Really working. Miley Zura, and will hit but roll out.
Not a huge deal at this stage in the game, but it is a nice chance now for Graceland to get to continue to find draw weight, which is always good to have in your back pocket.
Especially in an end where you've been playing all hits. See if the ice has changed. We're now into the second half of the game. Hasn't been a lot of draws, so everyone will have their stopwatch out and taking a look. Been about 15 and a half, hog to hog. See some of the past crests on the arm of Graceland Richards. A couple U18s, BC Winter Games. This one, I pulled out my stopwatch and I got 14-7.
Normally that'd be perfect, but not on this ice. That is in the hack.
But like you said, Will, it's one where you can throw that. There's no risk. It's a miss, but she'll just have to regroup and say, okay, maybe I'll get a chance to throw one on my, obviously the next one will be the last rock of the end. So if it is, this one's out of the rings, it'll be a throw through, but she'll know, okay, it hasn't really changed much from what we've seen throughout the week.
Mm-hmm. And one of the big things on this ice, because there is a little bit more curl on that side, especially on the draw to the forfeit path than that center line out, is that center line out draw is a lot faster than that draw to the forfeit path. So might be a good one too, just to put into the memory bank, that when you're throwing out the wings there, it's going to be quicker, or feel quicker anyhow.
Well, very nice, right to the tee line. Real nice for Hannah Smead to finish off this fifth end for her and force Graceland Richards to hit and roll out to blank the end, position her team with a 1-point lead, 2 hammers to Wheatcroft's 1. The final shot of end number 5. Really trying to try and roll this one out of the rings, and won't have enough, so they will end up taking one, but still, it's their point, not a steal, so they will take a 2-point lead. The final 3 ends of this semifinal contest here from Delta, BC. And number 6 underway as you see the Red Stones belonging to Team Richards, who has a 2-point lead right now after a single in that 5th. And Will, you look at that, obviously you want the blank if you're Graceland Richards, but it wasn't a total loss. It is your point you're putting up, not an opponent's stone.
Exactly. It's a pretty straight spot she was throwing in there, and making sure you get contact first is always the most important thing on those blank end attempts. So I think if you're Team Richards, you're okay with the situation, and you know, having an open end there wasn't all bad for them based on the scoreboard of this game.
So the first stone goes in of the 6th end. I'm sure we'll see Team Wheatcroft try and go after their deuce, put up the corner guard.
Nice shot, nice execution. I was a little surprised, Luke, that they didn't play that as a tight center guard, and because it does leave this double and hit and roll attempt, but nice execution and based on the call for sure. Nice draw weight.
Yeah, nothing to be said that it's the wrong call. You're just playing in, seeing if you can get something from your opponent. There, the hit. A nice roll off to the side. As it goes to the wide side of the 12-foot.
Good job of sticking around there, and pretty good end setup here for Team Wheatcroft.
Want to try and stick on this outside. And will do just that. So lying 2 again. Play all with just that one corner guard. Looks like hit and roll. It could be a straight come around.
I think they've called the hit and roll. A rollout here could be trouble, so really important to stick around here. And
well, I'm not sure what happened that one.
Started a little bit, I think.
Oh, it really jumped on him, so it'll slide well by. Thought I heard the comment, I'd love to play that, but I don't think we do, and I think that was peeling that guard just because of where their stones are positioned.
I don't blame them. They've had bad luck on those ones today.
Well, in a 2-point lead, it's, you hear that, the cliche, make your opponent make the tough shot.
Exactly.
So I think they called for this to be higher, just deeper than they wanted to, but it is in the rings to lie 3. Another shot at this for Team Wheatcroft. This one looking like a much better release and trying to get a better result. Hit.
Lovely shot there. And,
shot.
give a little shout out here to Ashley DeZura and Grandma's Harriet's salad dressing is a sponsor of their team, and that's her small business that she's running there. So good for her on that. You'll notice that as a little patch on their jackets there as she came out of the hack.
Well, she'll earn some salad dressing with shots like that, making that hit and roll.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the risk they talked about when they played that. Talked about playing it previously. This time it catches on the side one. Roll theirs into the house. It looks like it's 1 for sure, possibly 2 for Wheatcroft right now that they're counting. And look there. It is definitely 1-2 for those blue stones.
I love the attempt here to use these red stones to your advantage as well. So nice call here from Team Wheatcroft, I think.
I'll try and see if they can get any tuck, but it'll stay with great weight, top of the 8-foot, splitting the center line.
Nice shot.
Yeah, it's always a better result there than touching the top one, chipping it in, and it's forcing a difficult shot now for Keely Duncan.
Yeah, no real simple doubles, so it looks like they're playing the hit and roll.
Well, and we'll go just off the back of that one and through. So it's still 1-2 for Team Wheatcroft here with the hammer in the 6th end.
We've seen a lot of draws in this path today, and the curl in this spot is really nice. So looks like Team Wheatcroft is trying to tuck a little piece here and continue to put the pressure on. But like you said, Luke, it's all just about sitting 3 here and getting by that top one.
Great weight on the first, and this, did they just pull the string a little bit? Comes up short. Well, when Gracelyn Richards had a couple opportunities in this game, including that first end to score 3, hasn't come up with that big shot here. Looking at a double. You make the double, all of a sudden lying 3 or 4.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really play the hit and roll because that blue will jam. So chance to make the double here, and anywhere on the high side's okay. By high side, I mean the right side of your screen when Gracelyn's coming out of the hack.
A little chuckle as she grabbed the front end had the wrong colored stone there for her to throw. Not the first, not the last one to do that. Maybe relaxes her here before this double attempt.
Totally.
Well, staying close. And we'll get the one.
So yeah, in terms of tolerance, definitely on the right side there. You never want to be on the other side. So not a bad shot there at all. And, you can always now hit that open one on Team Richards last, even if the come around draw is made here. So that good news for Team Richards is it shouldn't be more than a deuce this end that they're giving up.
So if Smead makes this one around perfectly, you probably are seeing Richards hit the open one?
I think so. I mean, I think you would, just in terms of the scoreboard, unless this rock's wide open as well and leaves some sort of hit and roll. Really nice path on the ice. It's a really nice spot to be throwing a draw.
And line's looking good. Try and get this one right in. Yeah, well played. Hannah Smead right to the top of the forefoot. I think if the situation were different or a different point of the game, you might play after that one and freeze, but
exactly, Luke. I think you're right. It's that freeze is a pretty tough shot. That even if you do make it, there might still be a draw there for 2. But this is the safe way to go to make sure you don't give up that 3-ender and be tied up with the hammer after 6 is just fine.
final stone without the hammer for Gracelyn Richards. Really working, trying to make sure they catch a piece of this one. Punch it through, keep that around. May not seem like much, but now it closes in that scoring zone if they're playing a draw or if we see the hit.
This is one of those situations where it's always nice to throw the same shot you just threw. And the last shot they threw was the in-turn draw. So a little surprised to see them deviating to the hit here.
Yeah, especially when just made such a nice draw with her first. But again, they don't put a picture beside how you get the numbers on the scoreboard. They just go up as numbers.
You got it.
Final shot at 6th end for Hannah Smead, looking to tie this game up. working hard, trying to hold the line, make sure you stick around, and the hit,
Nice
and
shot.
look at that, right to the back of the forefoot, and we are all tied up. 2 ends remaining here in this semifinal. 4-4, Wheatcroft and Richards. Both teams now tied 4-4 as we play the 7th end. The hammer does go back to Team Richards here. Luke Coley along with Will Sutton. This one's great to back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, that was a great hit and roll made by Ashton Desura that sort of led to that deuce coming in that end, and really exciting 6th end to see these two teams tied up playing 7. I think it's going to be a nice last 2 ends of the game here.
Well, and you see Team Wheatcroft, you get that deuce, there's a bit of a lift, so maybe a little momentum on their side to these final couple ends. Now it becomes the 7th end, tie game. It's Richards. They want to try and score at least 2 with the hammer or blank. They don't want to take 1. Steal actually isn't even the end of the world for them probably. So they stick to their game plan of with the center line guard, you draw to the wing. Well, it doesn't have enough to get that one out of the rings, and it will get it out. So job done removing that redstone from play.
So based on this, the end plan looks like it is blank is the plan for Team Richards here, Luke. Based on the call here, I think.
Yeah, well done. You want to be in front of the tee line, out to the wide side.
Chance here to make the hit and roll, bring play back towards the middle, and put Team Wheatcroft in a pretty good situation here in the 7th end.
Well, trading hits back and forth. Yeah, I think there was a little panic there. They want to make sure that they got that one. That extra encouragement.
Love it.
At what point, will we see it's almost Wheatcroft that has to make the decision? Maybe we got to go around. We can't keep chasing that one on the side.
You know, yeah, I'm not sure what point they'll make that decision. They've made a few hit and rolls in this game, so I think they'll keep hitting pretty early in this end, and both teams do still have a timeout, so I won't be surprised to maybe see one of those timeouts use this end a little later in the end, but I think you'll continue to see the hit and roll here from Team Wheatcroft for the next little while. Main thing here is not rolling out, though. A rollout here would mean Team Richards can walk up there and peel that center guard, and all of a sudden the blank's on. So it's all about sticking around here, but obviously the hit and roll would be the bonus.
There's the hit now. Will it stick around? As you said, Will, rolling out. So sure we'll see Richards go up to get rid of that guard. That's part of the risk in playing those hits is you're a little off and you roll out. You leave this opportunity. Well played shot there to get rid of that guard.
Nice call here from Team Wheatcroft to continue calling the center guard here and try to force a nose hit maybe, or even a flash on one of these last few rocks from Team Richards.
Well, it's not right on the center line, but it's a position that's going to be removed either way.
Exactly, Luke. Yeah, I think Team Richards showed they wanted the blank pretty early in this end, so anything other than the peel of a rock in the free guard zone wouldn't really be in alignment with that end plan they showed at the start of the end, for sure.
I want to try and get this one off the front. Don't want to leave a guard, which they will leave. So a minor mistake. Chance to wrap one around if you're Team Wheatcroft.
All everybody on the same page there. They were pretty quick to say, got to go around there. Nice to see.
That's a big shot in the game. Make this chance to try and force the issue on Richards.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Wonderful shot. Looks like it's about half buried there, Luke.
I would agree. It's one you might try and chase anyway, and if you do catch the guard, you catch the guard.
Yeah, I totally agree, because you peel this, they're going to split the rings, and the force is on. So good decision here by Keely Duncan to maybe skate down and have a conversation.
Well, there's the comment. She says, try and go after it. Probably can. Sometimes you see more in the hack than you think in the house. So, but again, beware that the way to miss this is not wide and flashing. It's on the guard. Trying to get any of that one. Do they have enough to get rid of it? Very nice, great sweep to get that one over.
So really important on this one to keep it in front of the tee line. Because the game's tied up, you could just see Team Richards pivot a little bit this end and try to score 2 if you end up behind the T line here. So really nice chance for Team Wheatcroft to maybe get a force here, but important to keep this rock above the T line.
These are things that a team and players will learn as they play more and more games. That this is a scenario I'd rather be just top 12 foot than back 4 behind the T line. Well, they're going to take this one back to try and see if they can get it behind. But it won't do either. It's behind the T line and it's open. So if Graceland and Richards can make this hit and stick, it puts a decision for Wheatcroft of how to go about this one.
Exactly, yeah, and if she can hit and roll a little towards the center line, I think it's pretty good, exactly.
Well, a little indecision which way what they want to do with it. And that one will roll right out. So they could have got on it to try and curl it. Instead, an opportunity, tuck one behind. Force is on.
Exactly, and the nice thing about this one is you can go behind the T line here. Or it's just about getting it buried, so the other team has to draw for their one, and away you go to the 8th end.
Well, they've seen this spot a couple times, so try and make this a complete team shot. Use the sweepers, good line call, give them a chance. See, getting by with some room now. They want to try and get that late finish. Try and get anything in behind. Maybe tuck a quarter. Oh, how much can we see? Oh, 3/4. Okay, let's play for the same type. Let's hit and roll out to blank. Keep that all-important hammer in a tie game.
At some levels, or at all levels, really, you might see some people
Now, final stone of this 7th end. Try and make the hit and roll out. Makes the hit, and there it will go out. And the blank. Successful this time for Team Richards. They keep the hammer. And this tie game heading to the 8th end. The winner to tomorrow's championship final on the line. this 8th end just getting started. Luke Coley here with Will Sutton, the BC U18 Provincial Championship Women's Semifinal. Tie game, Richards with the hammer. Winner moves on to tomorrow's championship game against Emily Bowles.
And not only that, the winner of this game will also advance as one of the teams representing BC at the U18 Nationals later on this season, being run by Curling Canada.
Sometimes you see the ticks, sometimes you see the straight come around. Carly Hardy. Electing they will just draw to the wing.
I'm not sure if they were hoping Team Wheatcroft might go after that rock, but yeah, I think the other options in that end to play the tick shot or even play one around that rock above the tee line might be worth some consideration based on what your opposition is going to do in trying to bring play back towards the middle here. Nice call here from Team Wheatcroft.
It's how do you position them? It was a halfway guard to start, so try and get that next one close, but not in. And well done. That's a great start to the end. They got 2 guards in a real good position.
So I think Graceland seeing she's going to have a problem if she goes open side again, and quite smartly and quite rightly is going to try to put one ahead of the tee line behind those 2 center guards and worry about the guards later.
Yeah, and if you don't play the tick on the first and you draw to the wing, you don't draw them behind on your second, you're leaving that an open draw. Come in, you got to force the opponent to move yours.
Sliding a little deep, but real close there, just a little deep.
Yeah,
really
just
good
a
try.
little. And it's not far off from being an absolute perfect shot, but just that little extra opens up a spot for Wheatcroft to draw down. And it's all in which way do I want to miss? And that one maybe a little bit lighter is better.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, Luke. Chance here for the freeze to be made.
Yeah, not a bad curling shot. It's just the timing. Every shot is magnified now in a tie game at a semifinal of a provincial championship.
Exactly. And, you got to miss from the opposition there, but you're absolutely right. 3 feet or 4 feet higher is fine, but it's just that 2 or 3 inches behind the tee line that is not in the tolerance, as they say.
So peeling the high guard, they want to open things up. Try and get that off the center line. Not block any of your draw paths. One more opportunity to put this one on. This one trying to get onto the face, and real good effort. And
Absolutely.
I think it's not quite shot, but either way, open up the front.
Nice peel from Grace McCusker.
Oh, and timeout be called here.
And this is one of those timeouts where it's not just about this call, but it's probably about the whole end. So you're going to see Georgina come out and talk about the call here, but also talk about the next few shots, as you really should do in most timeouts. But sometimes it's just about one shot. But this is her last chance to interact with the team.
Yeah, and you see both teams have their coach to come out and talk about it. So
Adam
halfway
Duncan
through this eighth end
is the coach of the Team Richards there.
Georgina got that the competitive eyes out there. You see with the obviously with the mask, but the focus and fire that she has when she played.
Yeah, she's a great coach and asset to this team, and her passion really comes through in her coaching style. It's great.
On the other side, you see they're just sort of trying to relax them. It can be a tense environment and situation, so trying to keep the team loose, like they knew the situation, how they're talking through what their plan is. Obviously to score for both sides, but how do you go about and do that?
So looks like the decision, Luke, is to throw the center guard.
I think it's still at a point where you need to put that guard out. You play into the rings too early, then you're really congesting all the stones. Doesn't quite
Nice
cross
shot.
the center.
I think you do still have to deal with it. Just
They're
final
gonna call their
timeout now
timeout.
of the game.
They talked about it, but it's like the guard wasn't perfect, so then it changes your thinking of it's longer and off center. Do we still peel? And I think you still peel.
Yeah, I think the reason for that, Luke, is if you don't still peel, the opposition will be able to freeze to that red rock on the back of the button, and there will be a center guard up in front of it. So it could be a real problem. So I think for that reason, peeling the center guard will likely be with what the discussion's about here, but we'll have to wait and see.
It's almost one of those shots that's not quite made as you expect, so it changes your thinking of how you go about it. Do you go when you hit the one that's still open in the rings? Do you draw in front, beat them to the punch, or you peel it, which was probably going to be your thinking if the guard was made splitting center and tighter to the house. So the discussion done again, back-to-back timeouts there, and knowing what's on the line, knowing the importance here of this 8th end. As we expected, it will be the peel of this guard.
So 10 is the hog-to-hog time the team's trying to throw there for those of you learning the game.
They don't want to leave anything out in front. And we'll actually run it back, miss those in the house. And so a big opening here for Team Wheatcroft to try and use.
Talking about which turn, and this has been the turn we've seen the most draws made this game, this in-turn draw coming home.
Does it make a difference for results of, obviously this is a better path for the curl, but if it stays open a little bit, is it better if it's this way?
You know, I think it's more about, yeah, I think that's it's about being frozen here to that back one, so ideally, it's about being welded to that rock behind the tee line. This looks real close.
Really working on this one. Get it right down to it. Do they have enough to get in? And just short. But again, it's in a real good position to use in skip stones now. That missed peel got things very messy here for Team Richards.
The trouble with the peel now is Team Wheatcroft can use that blue stone that they've got placed there so nicely. So Team Richards is considering maybe playing a draw here, but that scoring area is getting awfully small. So late in this end, it's a tough decision here for Team Richards.
Wow, that just hurt, just guarded. It's tough. Do you come in? Do you try and beat them to that spot? You guard that, they might come with the out-turn. You may not have a shot. You might have to play a run back. Always tough throwing that guard with the hammer and holding on for that 1 point, which is right now belonging to Team Richards. The fear of that short tap back is what they're protecting. They want this one to dig in so it doesn't leave any sort of run back. Short of the house it goes.
So a couple options here. It looks like the easiest one is this out-turn freeze here, Luke.
Yeah, and I think they can get shot without actually getting to the red. They can freeze their own and get shot still.
Exactly. It really just the minimal bump here is key on that on the blue one. They can freeze to if they can bump it a little, but you don't want to bump it too far. And you can see this side of the sheet's a little straighter than that in-turn draw, so Only taken about a foot and a half ice for this shot.
You see how quickly an end can turn. One little mistake, half shot. And Wheatcroft taking advantage. They're trying to get shots. Oh. That's who makes that. That takes advantage of the half shot. Well, working again. Try and get this one right down.
Wonderful
right down
shot.
to it and gets shot. Stone, fabulous. Right on the side of the button.
Fortunately for Team Richards, they might be able to use that guard they just threw. It hasn't over curled to not be able to use it at least, but it's a really tough situation.
One more timeout to talk things over here for Team Richards.
If you're just tuning in, the winner of this game will advance to the U18 Nationals later on this year, being run by Curling Canada, as one of the two BC women's teams representing British Columbia.
Well, I think you nailed it there, Will, of using that one you just threw, running it back onto the Blues and trying to open the forefoot up. It doesn't really matter who's shot after this, just try and give yourself some room to score. A 4-4 tie here in this eighth end. Richards with the hammer. Wow, big scrub, get by the front, run this one back in. Spills them out, but it's still shot. Stone top forefoot, belonging to Team Wheatcroft. What a sweep to get by the front. Looks like they still may have that run back available for Richards.
I don't see a lot on the out-turn side for Richards, but I think you're right, Luke. That in-turn run back looks like it's still there.
Time clock not an issue. 3.5 minutes and counting for Wheatcroft to decide on this final shot of the eighth end.
Just deciding on what side to throw the guard on here, it looks like.
Is there anything on the right side of your picture?
It doesn't look like it unless you can come off of the left blue rock that we're looking at right now and roll in with a real heater. But I really think you can take a win back at this stage of the game, and it sounds like Ashley Desura is on the right path here. Oh, I'm not actually sure what it looks like. They actually might be. Guarding the right side.
Guarding, or I even heard maybe tap the blue one and push out the red back.
Okay. Yeah. So Team Richards should have a run back on their last, but looking to make the tap here, it sounds like.
last for Hannah Smead in this 8th end. Well, just taps that one up ever so slightly. Don't know if there's anything on that side, left side of your screen. That winning point sits top of the button, belonging to Team
Yeah, we'll
Wheatcroft
just have a
right
look
now.
at the free guard zone here in a moment. Perfect.
Similar type shot that she threw with her first.
Exactly. I'm not sure if anything good can come by hitting the 2 blues on the right side first. I think you need to hit the blue on the center line first, but looks like this is there.
Again, it's going to have to play it tight to that center line guard. This for the win. That stolen point set up right now for Team Wheatcroft. They stole one in the first end. Trying to steal one more here in 8 to get a spot in the final. Now again, got to get past that front guard. Get by. This looks real close. Pick it out. Look at that.
What a shot.
Wow.
What
To
a
move
shot.
to the final. What a shot from Gracelyn Richards. Team Wheatcroft did everything they could. And the run back takeout picks up the 1 and the win for Team Richards, who will now move into tomorrow's championship game and a spot at the U18 Nationals later this year. What a finish. What a game.
That was exciting. Great shot.
5-4, the final. Yeah, and celebrations indeed for Team Richards, who now move into tomorrow's championship game against Emily Bowles. We're down to 4 teams, 2 men, 2 women, to determine the U18 provincial champions. I'm Luke Coley with Will Sutton, and to wrap things up, I don't know how you top what we just saw to finish this one, but we get 2 championship games tomorrow. The men's side, Adam Fenton against Chris Parkinson, and then the women's side, you see it was Gracelyn Richards winning. They'll now take on Emily Bowles tomorrow. It should be 2 outstanding matchups, but to finish this one, still speechless from that shot made to win it.
Yeah, what a shot it was to win it, and Team Wheatcroft gave them all they could in that game and made some great draws down the stretch, and really nice to see Team Richards make a run back on their last to put this game in the win column for them, and they're on to the final.
And we get another look and how close it got to the guard. Then they pick it right through the hole. They don't disturb their stone. That ends up being the winning point. That one, back button, high fives. They know they're off to the Nationals. They have a chance to become the provincial champion for the U18. We'll find out tomorrow. It's been a pleasure working with Will Sutton, myself, Luke Coley. We'll have the finals for you tomorrow, starting with the men in the morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So make sure you tune in to that coverage, as we'll be back for Delta, BC, for the British Columbia U18 Provincial Championship.